The Clemson Tigers are hot. And after landing a 5-star linebacker, I have Sammy Brown out of Jefferson, Georgia, who, if you talk to some of the insiders across the industry, you listen to some people on Twitter, it sounded like, hey, this is going to be a Georgia win. Maybe Oklahoma's coming into this battle. But Dabo Swinney, Wes Goodwin, and this staff, they continue to show that even without Brent Venables there, they can recruit elite on defense. And really, Clemson's not going to stop rolling. They're going to continue this momentum into the 2023 season. But guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and hit the subscribe button. Jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. When Brent Venables left the University of Clemson, did you expect Clemson to be able to continue this reign of just, I'm not going to say dominance, but they are pretty hard to beat on the recruiting trail. And with the addition of Garrett Riley as an offensive coordinator, they're going to be pretty hard to beat on the field. So if you're a casual football fan and you see Brent Venables leave Clemson to go to Oklahoma and you see him take some of the staff with him, you go, oh, wow, like Oklahoma got a really good guy and Clemson lost a really good guy. And we kind of expect Clemson to take a downfall. But yet, in 2023, all Clemson did was land 27 commits and a 5-star defensive lineman in Peter Woods, who a lot of people believed would end up at the University of Alabama. Oh, in mind, I tell you, they also landed the number 11 class, right behind Tennessee at 277.35, where they had 273.45. And so you look at Clemson and go, so was it Venables? Was it Swinney? And again, talking to a casual, they might not understand who Nick Eason and Wes Goodwin are, how elite recruiters they are, and kind of who they learned under. Maybe we undervalue Dabo Swinney because if you talk to a lot of people, you heard Sammy Brown, Georgia. Sammy Brown in Oklahoma might have a good shot. Not a lot of people continue to talk about Clemson. By the way, the team that Sammy Brown has been camping with since he was in elementary school. Yeah. And then you look at what they got today in a wide receiver in TJ Moore, 6'3", 190 pounds. And then you look at what they could potentially get in a cornerback in Corian Gibson, a 5-star wide receiver, according to 247, and Bryant Wesco, who a lot of people for a long time has believed that is trending towards an Oklahoma win. Maybe it's a William Satterwhite or a Jamison Riggs or an Omilo Agard. Maybe it's KJ Bolden and an Edric Houston. Call me crazy, all you want. But we just saw Clemson go into the backyard of Georgia, take one of the best linebacker prospects that we've seen in a long time. And Georgia, they're going to keep the foot on the gas. They're going to keep this momentum rolling. And so I kind of went through the class calculator on 247 Sports, and I decided, hey, let's have a little fun here. Let's take a look at this. And I added in some of those guys we talked about, and I looked at KJ Bolden, and I looked at Edric Houston, who it sounds like KJ Bolden has a great relationship with the Clemson staff. Edric Houston, not a whole lot sure, but I've heard a lot of good things about KJ Bolden and the Clemson staff. And they land that whole group of kids with 17 commits at a 271.13 composite score. Clemson's right up there with just the best of the best in college football right now in terms of recruiting. And who's to say they can't do it? And I bring up this point because when you look at how Clemson is recruiting the state of Georgia right now, they're recruiting the state of Georgia like their lives depend on it. And I say that because I feel like they're in the driver's seat for KJ Bolden. A lot of people believe they're in the driver's seat for Mike Matthews. a lot of people believe that they could land Edric Houston. So that means Clemson would land the top 4 players in Georgia at that point, if we play that whole scenario out. Mind you, the 5th player and the number 6th player in the state of Georgia ended up at Florida State. Then number 7 ends up at the Gators. And finally, you get to number 8 in wide receiver Nye Carr, who ends up at Georgia. But then there's another gap. You have Aaron Noland at Ohio State. You have Jake Merklinger at Tennessee. You have Cameron Fountain at USC. And then you have to get down to number 12 before you see DeMello Jones, the safety, committed to Georgia. And I look at it and go, if Clemson is able to recruit this state as well as they're trending to basically recruit it right now, Clemson's dominance on the recruiting trail and dominance on the field is going to continue. Clemson's still going to be a national title contender. Clemson's still going to be that pain in Alabama and Georgia's side, giving them fits. One, because Clemson takes players from both schools. Hence Peter Woods from last cycle, which the Alabama Crimson Tide really wanted. And yeah, Georgia's recruiting their state. They're probably going to get King Joseph Edwards. And they've landed guys like Dwight Phillips. They've landed guys like Justin Green. But a wide receiver in Zion Raggins might end up at the University of Oklahoma. And it's not like Georgia's not rich in talent. 16 of the top 100 players in the country come out of the state of Georgia. And right now, it looks like Clemson, they're in the driver's seat to take the state of Georgia. And it's not like Clemson has thrown out a ton of offers. I just want people to realize that. It's not like Clemson has massively thrown out a ton of offers in this class. But somehow, Dabo Swinney is able to pull off his magic and really potentially position Clemson to be a top 5 class. I mean, am I crazy? I mean, maybe top 5 class is not high enough. Call me crazy. But Clemson could be a top 3 class. You land KJ Bolden, Sammy Brown, Edric Houston, Bryant Wesco, Mike Matthews. Yeah. Clemson's right there. Now, we still need to see where Clemson's at with Casey Poe. Casey Poe went on campus. Seems like he had a good visit. And although I would like to see Clemson win Edric Houston, because I would like to see Clemson be better than Georgia, I still think Edric Houston ends up at Georgia. But I think KJ Bolden ends up at Clemson. I think the two end up splitting from each other. And then you look at Cameron Coleman, another wide receiver that Clemson has positioned themselves well for. And you might be asking yourself, why all of a sudden is Clemson recruiting on the offense so well? Well, Dabo Swinney went and made a crucial acquisition this offseason by the name of Garrett Riley. And if it sounds familiar to you, it's because he's the brother of Lincoln Riley. And Garrett Riley just coached in the national championship at TCU. And although they got blown out, TCU had a pretty incredible season, pretty magical season. And offensively, Garrett Riley looks like he's got the tools where if you put him in a position like Clemson where they can recruit elite players, you can give him 5-star quarterbacks. Maybe he's able to turn out the same kind of success that his brother has. Maybe Clemson's able to return a Heisman Trophy to campus. The Clemson Tigers that we knew of the past, those Clemson Tigers are gone. The Clemson Tigers of the future, led by Dabo Swinney and Nick Eason and Wes Goodwin and Garrett Riley, dare I say, this might be probably the scariest Clemson team, the scariest Clemson regime that we've ever seen. But guys, I want to hear from you. Go ahead and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. What do you think of all the recent acquisitions for Clemson? Where do you think Clemson lands in this class? And do you think this is the best regime that the Clemson Tigers have had, really, since Dabo Swinney has gotten to Clemson?